Hey, and welcome back to the pilot devlog. So this is the second devlog. Since the last devlog, the goal has really been to flesh out a first draft of those core features that are going to be in this game. As a quick refresher, right, the overview of this game is basically you're just a grandchild who has to go and get groceries for your grandma, right? So in addition, I really intended for the focus to be stronger in the narrative aspect than anything else. So really the game's core elements can be broken down into the following. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll showcase this right now. So first we have the player is able to move around. It's not perfect, but it's fine, right? The player is able to interact with things in the scene. I'll show that in a few moments. The player is able to select something to interact with based off of some criteria. So basically here we can see it gets a little bit bigger, the cube here, so that's my visual display, because the criteria is just a distance right now. So the closest thing I am to is the thing I'm going to be interacting with. So, we also have that visual for which object is being interacted with. I'm not happy with this right now. I think it being like popping out a little bit like this, I think I'd rather have some kind of text indicating that the player is able to interact. I'm going to have to iterate more on this. I'm not happy with it. So also in this context, interaction, what it could be is basically like the player talking to someone, examining something, right? So that's the basic vibe right now. So over here, this right now, this cube is meant to be representative of a person, right? So the player interacting with that would start a conversation. So if we go ahead and do this, see we have like a little sprite to indicate who it is who's talking, the name of the person, and the thing that that person is saying. There's something wrong with the way this is working right now, because actually I should be having, there should be this guy coming first, but I'm only seeing the second guy. There's some issue with the order in which events are fired, but I'm planning on switching to the new input system as opposed to the legacy input system. That's probably going to fix my issue, because right now I don't have this notion of like different input schemes. So that's something that I'm going to implement in the next deliverable. So that's an example of interacting with a person, and also we could have like just examining something, right? So that's an example of that. And those are different UIs, just because if we're talking to a person, the person has to have, that sprite, their name, whereas an object, it's really just the text. So we have that difference of those two systems working, so that's good. So my next deliverable for the next devlog is going to be to make sure dialogues are working properly both when started from outside the player and when the player starts them through interaction. Because right now it only works when it's started from outside the player and not when the player starts them. So I need to get that flow figured out. The next thing also is going to be to make sure interactions in general are working properly using that new input system and not the legacy system. And once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and start fleshing out the level design, the plan for that on Figma. Alright, well, that's the end of the devlog. Thank you for listening. I'll catch you in the next one.